Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Gossip Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. R.J. faces Zende about his night with Luna. At the Oceanside house, Luna cried about her lament and about her adoration for R.J. You and Zende, he terribly answered. Luna summed up what had occurred at the party when she'd plastered and taken medicated mints. She demanded that she'd seen RJ, yet it had really been Zende. Upset, R.J. addressed whether Zende hadn't perceived how out of it Luna had been. He gathered that Zende enjoyed taking benefit of her. Luna answered that it hadn't been that way. It is possible that you realized what was going on, or you didn't. Which is it, Luna? R.J. inquired. R.J. inquired as to whether Luna had been dropped. Luna answered that she hadn't dropped, yet she'd been confounded. R.J. demanded Zende enjoyed taking benefit. Luna brought up that Zende hadn't realized she'd been medicated, and neither had RJ, who she accepted could never have let her return home alone assuming he'd thought that. R.J. noticed that she hadn't returned home. All things being equal, she'd gone to the guest house. R.J. inquired as to why. Luna said it hadn't been to track down Zende, and he'd misjudged for what reason she'd been there. R.J. proposed that there had been no misconception, and Zende had been after her for quite a long time, never regarding RJ, Luna, or their relationship. R.J. told her not to deceive him and say it had been a mishap. She cried that it was reality. It killed her to see R.J. in torment. However, she wanted him to hear that Zende hadn't exploited her. It had been the mints that had made her see RJ, the individual she adored. Luna contemplated that she ought to have gone to R.J. after it had worked out. He chomped out that she'd been concealing it from him the entire time. She cried that she dreaded how it could treat his and Zende's relationship. She called it an unfortunate mix-up. R.J. calculated that it had been for her, yet Zende had understood what he'd been doing and with whom he'd been making it happen. R.J. snatched his keys and stepped out of the house. She shouted his name, however he hammered the entryway. In the plan office, Zende let Carter know that Luna was admitting to R.J. At that point, Zende had truly thought he and Luna had shared something uniquely great, and that's what he expressed in the event that it hadn't been for Poppy and her mints, he and Luna could have gotten an opportunity at something. Poppy showed up, searching for her girl. Zende illuminated her that Luna was with R.J., what's more, was educating him regarding her night with Zende. Poppy discovered that Zende had trusted in Carter and noticed that she'd advised Luna to admit to R.J. Zende let Poppy know that Poppy had advised Luna to admit after she'd advised Luna to stay quiet for a really long time. Poppy explained that it had been on the grounds that she'd perceived how the mystery had been obliterating Luna. Zende said Luna's most memorable intuition had been to come clean, however they'd cautioned her about the outcomes. Carter said R.J. couldn't fault Luna. Zende expressed that they could expect that, nonetheless, regardless of whether R.J.'s head got it, his heart could not, and a bushwhacked R.J. may not be able to excuse Luna. Poppy conceded that she ought to be paying for it, not Luna. Poppy had stopped taking the mints, and Zende asked how that would help Luna. Poppy answered that it could assist her and her little girl with drawing nearer once more. Carter inquired as to whether Poppy was stopping for herself or to win Luna back. Poppy expressed that she must be totally present for Luna. Poppy had committed her life to Luna. Poppy accepted that nothing was a higher priority than the prosperity of her kid, however Luna could be losing the man she cherished due to Poppy. Afterward, Zende was distant from everyone else. He contemplated text informing Luna however adjusted his perspective. R.J. raged in, yelling names and throwing allegations. Zende told R.J. to fault him, not Luna. Damn right, I fault you. R.J. howled and struck Zende to the ground. Back at the Oceanside house, Poppy showed up and found Luna crying. Luna said she'd been calling R.J. Luna was unglued about causing R.J. such a lot of torment. However, Poppy demanded that it was her issue. Luna got a sense of ownership with not telling RJ, and she feared R.J. defying Zende. In Eric's office, Liam and Truss kidded about how long the hippos had remained underneath the water and how lovable Beth had been the point at which the creature had at last swum up for air. Trust said thanks to him for setting aside some margin to get it going with Trust. Liam answered that he'd taken a ton of things in his day-to-day existence for conceded, however Beth could never be a unique little something. Liam chose to allow Desire to return to work, yet Trust expressed that there was no rush. Liam accepted that was on the grounds that her lead planner had gone. Trust answered that Thomas had been more to her than simply that. She shared that she'd been pondering the advancement of her relationship with Thomas, and Liam contemplated whether he was actually the one for her to trust in. Trust expressed that she was attempting to see the master plan, since she was more taken out from it. She'd been considering the way that it had developed, and she'd been thinking about her relationship with Thomas before he'd changed. His association in what befell Beth? Liam inquired. Trust expressed that she'd never reject that Thomas had deceived them and attempted to keep their little girl from them, however she asserted that Thomas thought twice about it and that it tormented Thomas. While she got that Liam couldn't excuse Thomas, she had, and she'd accepted that he'd been fit for improving, which he'd done. Trust expressed that she was scrutinizing her powerlessness to acknowledge his proposition, and she didn't know what was to come held for herself and Thomas. Trust said she'd been addressing everything. Liam answered that the person she'd been protecting had left town since she hadn't committed quickly enough. She expressed that she'd been addressing why she wasn't ready to commit and noticed that things had been going so well. Trust reviewed what Brooke had said after seeing the ring on the jewelry interestingly. Brooke had said Trust's contribution with Thomas had been a response. Trust had ignored it until Finn had referenced that she could have been revolting. Against what? Liam inquired. Trust figured he knew her mom's set of experiences and the name put on Brooke. Trust had sworn she wouldn't be that way. So that when I began to feel a draw to another person, somebody who was unfaltering, strong, a one-lady man, Liam, simply realize I wasn't attempting to hurt you, Trust expressed. Liam answered that he knew it. Asserting that she wouldn't hesitate to concede when she was off base, Trust inferred that she hadn't turned into her mom, yet she had considered strolling on the wild side. She had behaved recklessly, however she hadn't embarked on a mission to hurt Liam. She guaranteed she wasn't playing with Thomas or attempting to utilize him. That's what she stated, assuming she was sure of a certain something. It was her affections for Thomas. Trust calculated that Liam would have rather not heard it, yet she cherished Thomas. She added that she needed to zero in on Beth, and afterward myself and the line. Liam felt as though he was going through exactly the same thing: kids, family, work. He put his young ladies as his most noteworthy need. She inquired as to whether that was the entire rundown. Liam added a Spencer's requirement for global control. Think about where Trust's inquiries were going. Liam said he needed to move past the thing about not having a personality except if he was with somebody. He contemplated whether his personality was being the best father he could be. Trust expressed that they were going through exactly the same thing simultaneously. Indeed, take a gander at both of us tracking down our direction, Liam answered, and Trust expressed that nobody understood what was to come held.